I was abused. I was neglected in a way that my voice didn't matter when it came to speaking about the things that upset me and hurt me, and brought us together in that moment, right? But then here comes lesson, right?
And let's
shake everything out. I got the chills thinking because
wait, what?
Crooked eye.
I can't even do it right now.
South side of the track. You know what I'm talking about?
Yo, stop playing with me.
South side of the track. Cool. We're gonna get through.
No, we're gonna get into it. That was amazing though. That I'm like.
That's full circle. That's literally. I never thought of it that way, but that was full circle.
Like, what did I say? I said this is healing. Let this be healing for him.
I love this. It takes 10 years before someone realizes they have depression. 85% of the time. It takes 10 years.
It's because they mask it with so many.
Yeah, you know what? It's depression. Where we are desensitized.
See the passion. We're not playing
I didn't even mean
any
to do
games.
Straight up, and that's when that happened. Wow, that's crazy.
Yo, we were really sitting here talking about.
I'm gonna bring that up.
Bring it up right now.
I'm about to bring that up
Bring it up right now.
Being grateful is a big thing for me because I'm grateful now more than I've ever been for everybody, for everything. Knowing that my faith and my purpose is still intact, and no matter what could have happened, I was gonna be okay. I know what it feels like. I know what it looks like. I know where the end, I know where it starts. I know how hard, how soft. I know where it's dirty, I know where it's clean. But I know the ledge enough to where if somebody's standing on it and they feel like they're ready to throw things away, I can talk them off of that ledge and remind them of the importance of their lives.
You knew that Christ is actually going to fight all your battles for you.
Yeah.
Like you're going to continue to be defeated if you continue to feel like you're going to fight your way out of every situation.
Yeah, you can't. There was some privacy that was broken. My privacy had been broken, and I learned to love the pain. It's taught me that that's what real faith does for you. You find the lesson and the blessing in every situation, no matter good or bad.
What's up, everybody? It is your girl Jazzy on another episode of Inside the Light, where we share our stories of us in the darkness coming into the light. We all have a story to share, testimonies to share. I know for myself, this is what led me on my spiritual journey to Jesus Christ. And I am so honored and blessed and just so lit to have my brother in Christ here on this episode to share his testimony, because I know it's impactful. There's so many gems and so many things that other people can be blessed and learn from. And in that journey, or through this conversation, he will have an opportunity to heal things in himself as well. So I'm excited to introduce
Honesty.
Honesty. Everybody in the back. Clap your hands. Clap your hands. No, I'm really excited. We've been talking about this for a mighty long time. It's legit. It's finally happened. It's here. And I wanted to tell him and the audience that I've watched him blossom. I've watched him grow. I've watched him become a true mighty man of God. I've watched him step out and step in faith. I've watched him set standards for himself and set boundaries for himself. And we're all learning. We're all growing. But I've also seen him allow himself to take constructive criticism. Things that I've told him, like, hey, don't do this, you should do this. 2 years later, he's doing it, you know, and it can give me full body chills. It can bring tears to my eyes because I care about him. I know that when God tells you or me something, when you have a relationship with Christ, you listen, you be obedient. So by me speaking life into him and telling him what he should be doing, he could have done one or two things. Said, yeah, screw you, I'm going to go over here and do me. Or allow himself to really sit with that thought. And so here we are today.
Yes.
For him to express those thoughts that he had.
Yes.
The conversations that we've had, his childhood. And so I'm just going to dive right in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's dive in.
So I know a lot about your story, and I know there's still more for you to explain. So I'm excited just as much as the audience is.
Great.
I want to just start off, obviously, your childhood, like as a youngster, you know, how was your relationship with your family, with your father? How did it mold you into the person that you are today, from your perspective, from your challenges, from your traumas, from all the things?
Well, that's a good question. So childhood, was more of an idea than a reality for me. I know what childhood is to a lot of people, and I know that my mother tried to provide childhood for me in the best way that she knew to, and which I'm so grateful for everything that happened in my childhood. But it was childhood wasn't a real thing for me, because although I had the video games and the toys and the outside time, it was I was put into a lot of adult situations and filled with a lot of adult emotions, and seeing things that, you know, just like a lot of children should have not seen, but the way it affected me is through abuse, through neglect. Instead of growing hatred or distortment of just anger and resentment, I instead try to love and understand the neglect and the abuse that I was being faced with. So in my life, I'm blessed that everything that happened the way it did, because now I get to be the person that I am today, with a level of understanding necessary, I believe, for my path to God. I stopped trying to get resentment, but instead learn to understand that everything has a reason, and God, it puts everything in our lives for a reason, whether it's good, bad, or it's tough, or His plan is greater than all. Amen. And no matter what we've been through, if we learn to be grateful for those things, there's fruit to be bared from that. So yeah, I'm grateful.
So I want you to go more into depth about, like you said, you know, the things that you dealt with, like basically the traumatic stuff, like whatever you're comfortable with, like touch on that. Like, was there anything, you said abuse, like was that directly from anybody in particular in your family? Was it everybody? Did it seem like everyone was out to get you?
Appreciate you, you know, allowing me to be comfortable. So, see, the thing what I've learned in my life is I'm comfortable with talking about all of it. So there's a reason my name is Honesty. As an artist, honesty means being able to be honest, even about the most hurtful things that we've been through, most traumatic things. And with this honesty, I've learned to kill my vulnerabilities. Being honest and being open is what helps me become a better me. And so, with that being said, I was abused, physically abused, emotionally abused, and spiritually abused by my father growing up, which today I love him to death, and it's nothing against him. We all make mistakes, and I'm not here to harp on mistakes that were made, but I was abused. And I was neglected in a way that my voice didn't matter when it came to speaking about the things that upset me and hurt me. And so, with that abuse happening, in the midst of all the abuse that was happening, I was also sexually molested at 8 years old, and it was by somebody that I was supposed to be able to trust. And I didn't speak on it till I was 30 years old. And so that took a big part of my life. And I was suicidal into my teenage years. I was doing hard drugs. And I was trying to figure out adult life from a very young age. I would say 6 or 7 years old, I was already starting to figure out adult life. And then at 8 years old, I got exposed to a sexual nature of adult life that no child should ever have to face, I believe. And so it created a lot of darkness and demons that I just suppressed, compressed, you know, compartmentalized. And as a musician, as an artist, I kill my vulnerabilities through my music. And so I talk about all these things. And I think it's important for young men, young children in general, to kill their vulnerabilities by opening up. So the things that hurt us, we have to talk about them. No matter who's listening, somebody will. Somebody will. And the path that it takes you is meant for you, regardless if it feels like it right now, it is. And I want to be a staple to that. I want to show you and everybody, show my best friend here, Jasmine, that no matter what, it's not what makes us. God is what makes us.
Amen.
And we can either be used, or we can use it. And for the longest, I was used by it. But now that I'm an artist and I'm making music,
so before you get into that, you said use it. So I just want to know, at what point of your childhood did you realize you were even carrying that weight? Like, I mean, of course, at 8, you already know something's wrong. Like, we're born, it's in our nature to know, like, when conviction and understanding, like, if a newborn baby sees someone getting, you know, abused, they are going to cry because it's in our nature, you know, because we're created by the Almighty God, right? That's not good. But when did you realize that after X amount of years, after 8, you know, from the relationship with your father and the abuse, that you were carrying that weight, and how did it affect you up into your adulthood? Like,
wow, that's a good question. So I actually realized shortly before I was molested that I was already because I was 7 years old when I was already reading Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet. Like, I'm a romantic. And but at 7 years old, I heard a song on the radio and I cried to that song because it reminded me of my father. And it was that point in time is when anxiety actually started. The seed of anxiety was planted in my life. And so I started realizing I was already carrying weight that I could not disperse. Wow. The dishes in the sink was full of dishes, and I didn't want to add to the plate that was already in front of my parents, so I didn't speak on it. I tried to deal with it myself. So by the time I was 7 years old, I was already trying to handle adult situations. So, like, that's why I say childhood was more of an idea than a reality. Because although I had everything that a child could want, the video games, the Nintendo 64, the Xbox when it first came out, the toys, the sports, and the friends, there was only one friend that knew. Only one friend that knew everything I was going through. He's still my best friend today. But yeah, thank you for that question. It was at an early age, 7 years old.
And I'm just curious, you know, you mentioned them being molested and whatnot. How did that affect your relationship with just everybody in general, right? Like, did it, I mean, I can only assume it naturally made your guard up high, and, like, you know, it made you obviously more guarded for sure, but like, just talk a little more about that.
So, it's bad no matter if it happens to a girl or a boy. But for boys, it's different because now, at least for me, it felt like I needed to prove myself I was a man. I felt like my manhood was taken before I even knew what it was supposed to be. And so I grew up mistreating women, and I grew up fighting anybody and everybody. If you looked at me sideways, if it was another man, if you looked at me for more than 10 seconds, I felt like you had a problem with me. Let's solve that right now. And if it was a lady, you point her out and I'll go get her and prove to you that I can get her, because that's what makes me a man. Like, I get the prettiest girls, I can fight anybody, and you name it, I can do it. I can jump higher than you, I can run faster than you, I can hit harder than you. And so I mistreated everybody except those who would accept me. And so I have one best friend from my childhood. I have other friends that I've seen on and off that I'm still really close with. I really appreciate them. But one best friend, and he was the one that saw me go through everything. He didn't even know I got molested. No one did. Nobody in the world knew I got molested until I was 30. And that's a whole other lesson I will speak about later in this conversation. But yeah, I mistreated everybody. I always felt like I had to prove. It literally casted a shadow so dark that the sunniest of days felt like even the worst of days. I never felt like I was good enough. I never felt like I was man enough.
So I do want to, you said you will talk more about that later, but I'm curious. So, like, you felt ashamed, so you didn't want to tell people? Do you feel embarrassed? Did you feel like they were going to start treating you differently? I was scared. I was scared because the fear was that I would be perceived as weak or as a liar. The longer I held on to it, it's like, now no one's going to believe me that it happened 20 years ago. No one's going to believe me now. And so, yeah, perception, right?
I was caring still so much about how everybody else saw me instead of taking care of myself. And the reaction I got initially was it was also very poisonous. So that God is so great.
God is so
great, right? So I went to church. I was doing an inventory, and this is how I realized that I hadn't spoke about it. So I was with my best friend at the time, and this best friend, so I'm a suicide survivor. I've attempted my life 3 times, and the man who saved my life the 3rd time, he literally pulled me off a rope. So me and him decided to go to church together.
Wow.
Yeah, he literally pulled me off a rope. Me and him decided to go to church together to a therapy group session at a church. And we're doing inventory. And as we're leaving that church, I told him, he's the first person I ever knew. You would know it's this godsend. Like, he told me, I was the abuser when I was younger. I was the abused and he was the abuser. He had touched his cousin.
Wow.
And he never understood that he was the predator and I was the prey. And I had opened up to him and he started crying. He goes, I'd never seen it from that point of view. And now I feel so much more terrible about what I did because I never took. He understood. God brought us together in that moment, right? But then here comes lesson, right? Here comes lesson. And I love my mother to death. I honor her in every way I can possible. She is an absolute saint to me. She obviously she's not without flaws. She's not without issues. She's not without mistake. But she instilled in me a strength that God put her in my life for a reason, right? So when I told her,
how old were you?
I was 30 years old.
Wow.
This is 22 years after it happened.
Wow.
I told her, and she went silent, and I didn't get the reaction. So I was like, okay, like I understand that's a lot. And so, like 6 months later, I had written a poem about it, and the poem now is a song that I've turned into a song. It's called Pray, Prey, and I went to show her the poem, and she responded to me, I don't know why you want to show me this. It feels like your misery wants my company. And all I wanted her was to see me more. I just wanted her to see me as who I was more.
Yeah.
Like I felt like that was supposed to change her understanding of me, right? But then that's when I realized I'm not meant to be understood. Then when I try to push myself into people to make them understand me, then I'm asking for something that was never meant to, like, as long as I speak, I can be understood. I'm human. And so she understood, and she understood more than she wanted to. And it became her demon as well. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. And so, but when I told my dad, it's somebody who wasn't active in my life very much. When I told him that it happened, he reacted the way I wanted my mom to react.
Whoa.
Yeah, so it was the exact opposite, right? My dad was like, we got to find this person. We got to make sure that he gets taken to justice. This is my dad saying this. And I was like, God, I'm getting chills thinking about it. Right. That was God because I had so much resentment to my dad for so long, and I never had any resentment to my mom. And then this flipped, right? But then I realized my parents are human. And I grew up thinking that they were supposed to be perfect.
Yes, this is like, what did I say? I said, this is healing. Let this be healing for him.
I love this. Yeah, so full circle is what it was. I had grown resentment from my dad, and in this moment, I loved him more than I ever loved him. And I had never had resentment to my mom, but in this moment, I started to. And then this is what taught me about honoring thy parents, right? Honoring your parents, your mother and thy father. We're human. And I'd seen them in a lens that I thought they were supposed to be perfect. But see, when anxiety hit me, and I had such a bad anxiety, it would make me pass out. I'd have anxiety attacks, I would pass out. And the doctors sent me to school with a heart monitor. I was going through middle school with a heart monitor, going through puberty and a heart monitor all at the same time. So I'm like, carrying this heart monitor around. And when they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me, they just chalked it up to a fluke. It just so happened. And maybe it was a heart murmur or something. But they never considered anxiety because when I was younger, anxiety and depression wasn't a really big thing.
It wasn't like a big topic.
It wasn't,
like
right?
People, yeah.
And so, just like most men in the world, it's kind of brushed aside. And I have a metaphor for this, which is it's sad to think about, but it's such a great metaphor. The reason that depression in men isn't taken as serious as it should be is because it's, in essence, it's like a tree that falls in the forest. Like, you don't really think about the tree that fell when there's a whole forest around you. Right? So when one man falls, it doesn't have the effect it should because there's so many men, right? But we are the only species in this planet that self-harms.
Wow.
And there's almost 3 men. It's almost, the statistics are going up. Almost
Whoa.
3 men every 60 seconds in the world.
That's so scary.
60 seconds, 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day, 365 days a year. Every 60 seconds, 3 men. That's how serious it is.
That's not talked about enough.
It's not. And what people don't realize is 85% of the time, it takes 10 years before someone realizes they have depression. 85% of the time. It takes 10 years.
It's because they mask it with so many
distractions. It's depression. There's we are desensitized. There's so much going on all at the same time. Life, just like we had talked about, the news. You're hearing about Iran. You're hearing about Jerusalem. You're hearing about China. You're hearing about Africa. You're hearing about the things going on in our own country. You're hearing things about from gossip. Right? This is why gossip is bad too, because there's a lot of things we're not supposed to know. We're not supposed to know so quickly, and like the information, this decade, this generation of information is detrimental because we're taking in so much information that we don't give the importance to the information that God wants us to know, so I've shut myself off. The hardest thing about being an artist today for me is staying active in social media because I don't want to. I want to. I know it's necessary as an artist. I know it's necessary. Like that's 95. Unfortunately, this is what it is. That's 90% of being an artist is marketing. It's not the 100%. Actual. You could be the best artist in the world, but if you do zero marketing, you're not going. No one's going to know you, right? And so, if you look at everything I'm wearing, I mean, like I like dressing this way. I feel like I feel clean. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I look clean. I feel clean. I'm but if I didn't dress this way, and I dress slouchy, and then I will more than likely not be seen, right? But you have someone like a Billie Eilish, who that's her whole get up, right? She has that slouch look, but she has green hair too, right? She may have the slouch look, but she has something about her that's totally different that you don't see on the streets. It looks gimmicky at first until you realize it's not a gimmick, right? So you saw the video. I have this fur coat, fur coat, right? I look like a bear in that thing. I have this. It's a silk shirt. I got the chains, and I realized that being an artist is the most beautiful thing you can be. I mean, we're all artists. Everybody's an artist in their own way, right? Whether it's a mechanic, whether it's a person in Subway, whether it's a podcaster or a home designer or a yard designer or
doing nails,
we are all. But we have to realize what's controlling our art, right? What's the reason for our art? If we're doing it very selfishly, that is very satanic.
Demonic, yeah.
Demonic. A selfish movement always has an end.
Yeah, and that's why God gives us these gifts to glorify Him at the end of the day. Always.
All of our gifts. This wasn't meant for me. So I say this.
And that's why we'll get into the music too, because like that's eventually going to happen.
Yeah.
Because that's, like I stated in the beginning, like that's something He created. It's like He came out of His mama's belly just making music. I kid you not. Like, so He's just so good with His words. He's articulate. He's profound. Like I told him earlier, like He embodies music. Like it's like a different level of like passion I see from Him, which is why I admired that. But I just knew, man, if He did this to glorify God in His own way, right? to where it would be receptive to people, even the people that aren't not believers, right? That's going to hit different. Hit different. And the fact that he is and has done that, which we'll get more into later, like, is just a true testament of how being obedient and like using your gifts to glorify God, like we're talking about. So beautiful. Yeah,
I appreciate that. But to take a step back, it was never meant just for me. And what I realized is even this life of mine is a gift every day. And that's why it's called the present, right? When you're present, it's a gift because there's no amount of good we can do to earn us tomorrow. That is grace. Every time we open our eyes is grace. But I've come with the mindset now that the Satan has a chance in this world as long as my eyes are closed. But the moment I wake my eyes up, God's giving me grace again, Satan loses every single day. Satan has a chance when my eyes are closed to make a difference in somebody else's life. But when my eyes open, it's war. And it's me and God and Jesus and all the followers who also believe. It's us against them. And I refuse to believe that darkness ever beats light. You can be surrounded in darkness and be the light. And I'm not the shepherd. And I was telling you this. I'm not the shepherd, but I am the light.
And the light represents when you're in the darkness is hope, right? Like, because even
catch myself.
Oh my gosh. See the passion. We're not playing any games.
Let me step again. It's him. We straight up, and that's when that happened. Wow. That's crazy.
Yo, we were literally sitting here talking about...
bring that up.
Bring it up right now.
I'm about to bring that up
right now.
All right,
wow.
Are we good?
We're good.
All right. So, we're back. Hey, so literally as I'm rebuking him and telling us it's us against him, and the light will always conquer the darkness. It literally, as I scratched myself a little bit. I was like,
bleeding. I'm like, all bleeding. In his neck.
Yeah, it's so wild. So,
anyways,
you cannot win.
Yeah. We're divinely protected.
So the idea is this. What's given to us was never meant to be kept, I believe, as well, right? And so because we ourselves can't keep ourselves. We have no control of these things. So if it's in God's plan that me as a singer, I get some type of sickness where I lose my voice. I just have to trust that I've done the work that I needed to in the time that I did it. And I would not be upset about it. I would not, God, why? I won't do it. No, because I trust him. And trust and faith is what keeps me stress-free, anxiety-free, depression-free. And I feel so blessed to say that.
And I would also, I would love to reel you back, just if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
We talked about you feeling like unworthy, being in like toxic relationships in your family, and the chain of events that we've already touched on. But like, how did that? I would love for you to talk about, because this is huge too. You talk about you're a lover's guy, like you're a romantic type of guy. Okay, so I want you to talk more about like how feeling like unworthy and how like trying to fill that void, how that's kind of like impacted your relationships, like your love interests, your relationships, and even becoming a father. I would love for you to just kind of like all that in a nutshell. I would love for you to touch on that. So
what I've realized, and I don't struggle with it, but it is still part of who I am, and I'm working to dissipate that part of me, and it's through my relationship with God that I will do so. But how it's affected me is that since when I was younger and I was being abused, instead of growing hatred or anger, I started to try to love and understand. So I'd read my dad's emotions. I'd read his energy when he'd walk in the house. And if I could tell he was angry or upset, I would stay out of his way. And then when he was hitting me or hurting me, I would, instead of hating him, I would try to understand why he was angry and mad. And how that led into my relationships was instead of just breaking up with somebody, I would understand why they were hurting me and try to love that part of them out of them. which I could
Try
never
to
do that.
understand. Like,
Yeah,
you try so hard to understand them.
I forced myself to understand to where it's like, okay, I see why you did this. Well, maybe I can change myself so that you don't do this again. And so what, in essence, what I was doing was I was allowing them to hurt me and trying to love the pain that they were going through out of them. And you can never really do that. Like, God is the only way that you can love the pain out of yourself is by allowing God to step in and take control instead of trying to take control ourselves.
Right.
And so even today, like, and you spoke about this. I recently was talking with a girl, and she's God bless her. I hope the best for her. But I found myself attractive because there was a level of consideration that she would take into me. And I'm a very philosophical person, and I've realized that consideration is one of the purest forms of love when you are thinking of somebody outside of your own, outside of being around them. If I think about, they would love this while I'm at the store, or this is what it showed me. And so she would do things like this, and it made me feel good. It made me feel like, okay, she really likes me, but
feel seen.
Yeah, the thing is that as an artist, it's like a subconscious thing, right? Since I grew up in the shadows, my whole childhood, teenage years, most of my life, I was fighting my way out of these shadows, and so being seen is all I've ever really wanted. Like, just I don't need you to understand me, but see me, see the effort I put in, see the consideration I take, and I don't need you to applaud me, but be grateful for me. And being grateful is a big thing for me, because I'm grateful now more than I've ever been for everybody, for everything, for everybody I meet. And so, unfortunately, everything didn't work out with that girl I was speaking with, because she wasn't grateful as I thought she was. And it's okay. Like I said, God bless her, and I hope that she finds her way as I'm trying to, right? But that's what it's done. It's given me. It even affects me still today. I'm not without trouble, right? I do have troubles, but I don't have troubles that take even a half portion of my day. Nothing takes over.
The women that you've been with, whether in a relationship or dating, did you find yourself going through the same experience with a new face, with a new name, and you're realizing, is there something I'm not learning here? Is there something that I need to unpack? And do I need to necessarily do that alone, or maybe I do need to take it to God, because clearly I've put it all in my own hands, and nothing seems to be working. Talk more about that, because I want to know, like, even becoming a father and dating, that's different too, especially you have a daughter.
Yes.
So being a father to a daughter, like, you have to set an example for her. It's like, if I'm just going to go get with somebody who's going to treat me like this and be okay with it, then I can't be upset when I see my daughter choose a guy who's going to be a certain way towards her.
Yeah.
So all of that goes hand in hand. Just talk more about that.
So that's a good question. I've realized everybody that I connect with in one way or another is a reflection of myself. And so, with the girl that I was recently talking to, she had the mindset to get closer to God, but her actions and her things that she was portraying, portraying, she's not all the way in the water. And in the water, I mean, like, she's not diving into to get to know him. She can tell you names from stories of the Bible, and
it's like what people say, like, you can go get baptized all day, but you're just taking a bath. You're just getting wet.
Yeah,
you've got to spiritually, emotionally, mentally, the whole nine. You got to, like, die to yourself and surrender to him fully. And then it's just a spiritual bath after that. It's just you're cleansing what's already been cleansed at that point.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. And what I realized through her was that although I'm closer to leading a household, I'm not just there yet. God doesn't deny; He delays. And so through the lesson I learned through her was that I do need to dive deeper, and not necessarily into the Bible or into church, just in my faith. I need to dive deeper because at a certain point, and this is a saying that I say, and I believe this, sometimes you're not feeling blessed or you're not getting blessed because you're the blessing. You are the blessing. And so, but there's only so many times you can be the blessing before it's your turn. And I don't believe that God will, God's gonna test your faith. He's gonna test what you say. So if you tell him you have faith, he's gonna test that. And I think I've been hitting the ball out the park recently, right? Because, well, obviously I'm here with you, right? And you're strong in your faith. I have more people around me that are getting stronger in their faith, and
I think having people hold you accountable too, because you can know deep down, you have that discernment because you're a very smart man. You understand when something's good or not good for you.
Yeah.
But you are so used to, especially in your past, like allowing that person to hurt you for you then to move on instead of you saying, you know what? I'm going to prevent this. God bless you. You're like, no, like if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But I'm strong enough to deal with it because I've dealt with it my whole life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. You nailed that on the head. That's exactly what it is. So I could have immediately stepped away from her. But then I was denying myself the lesson that I needed, and I would have been denying her the lesson that she may need. And so instead I allowed the flower to either blossom or to rot. And then and I don't ever let it fully rot, but I'll let it get to a point where it's like, okay, now we both know, right? But if I had just cut things off, then the next person would have to face the same issues potentially with her, right? So I like to be this way with anybody and everybody I meet. I don't want to leave you in the same position I found you in. And so I allowed it, knowing that my faith and my purpose is still intact. And no matter what could have happened, I was going to be okay, no matter what.
And the reason why I'm wanting you to speak more on this is because anybody knows who you are. They know you're passionate.
Yeah.
That you yearn for love.
Yeah.
Like if you have to be living under a rock, if you know you've been very raw, authentic, real organic. Some days, some people might question your post, like, is he okay?
Yeah.
And then some days it's like, okay, he is okay. You know, because you're just you and you speak your mind. If you're having a bad day, people are going to feel that. If you're having a good day, people are going to feel that. They're riding the wave with you. And so, you know, as far as like even relationships goes, like some people could say like, oh, you might just jump into the first person that wants to love you because you're yearning for that so deeply. And, you know, are you protecting yourself as much as you know in your heart that you should, because you want something so bad, even if it's toxic for you?
Yeah.
And it's just so deep. So I say that because we're on a faith journey. You know, I'm single, you're single. We understand. Like I've had to let relationships go. You've had to let relationships go. But at the end of the day, as long as we're learning the lesson that we need to, and it's drawing us closer to Him, that's the root of it.
Yeah.
And so I think even in your past relationships, even myself too, it didn't draw me closer to God at that time. Like I didn't see it that way. Yeah. Right. But that was part of the journey through the brokenness, through the chain of events, through the habitual habits you were making. You know what?
So it's funny. It's not funny, but it's amazing that you say that actually, because and a lot of people won't agree with my tactics and how I go about maintaining my level of understanding and compassion for people, no matter where they're at in life. And I've chosen to be this way. And this is why I meet people like the girl I was speaking with, because I choose to stay close to the ledge. I'll never step on the ledge again, but I stay close to the ledge so that way I can talk people off of it.
So you can what?
So I can talk people off the ledge.
Talk them off the ledge. Yes. Oh my gosh, I tell people that all the time.
Yeah, that means I have to go through some problems. Yeah. I have to be willing
Or you say,
and
hey,
faithful
you
enough.
See this ledge? I've literally lived here.
Yeah. I stay by it. I know what it feels like. I know what it looks like. I know where the end. I know where it starts. I know how hard or how soft. I know where it's dirty. I know where it's clean. But I know the ledge enough to where if somebody's standing on it and they feel like they're ready to throw things away, I can talk them off of that ledge and remind them of the importance of their life.
So we're gonna take a turn from this. I'm gonna take this into a new direction because talking them off the ledge. Speak about how that was able to be something you implemented with a friend of yours. We won't use no names.
Yeah.
How, as you had to fight for your life mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, family members, friends. I mean, you just had to fight everybody until the closer you've gotten to Christ and you strengthened that, you knew that Christ is actually going to fight all your battles for you.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to continue to be defeated if you continue to feel like you're going to fight your way out of every situation.
Yeah, you can't.
So, and also you see yourself in other people. So you'll have friends that you'll say, man, I see so much of myself in this person, and how they're reacting is my old self, because I died to my old self, right? We're never going to be perfect, amen. But I would love for you to kind of tell them the story. I know a little bit about it, but about how that happened and how you not only showed him a level of maturity, faith, and just being able to show him a different way of handling a situation, but you proved to yourself too, and God, you are changing. You have come far.
What's up, King and Queen? Yeah. Sorry, I know you're on tunnel vision watching this episode, but if you could do me a solid and just like and subscribe to, it would help me so much as I'm trying to build this channel up to glorify God, so other people like-minded will be able to reach this episode and we could all share the glorious goodness of God. Okay, sorry, back to the video.
So
that's a good question. So and I want to start by thanking God for this one, because without him none of it would be possible. But I don't know the book, the Bible by chapter. I know the most important stories, which most people probably would, but what I know is what I discern from what I pick apart and see, in my life how it fits. And so there was a moment with two moments with the same man, and he's still one of my best friends, and he's actually a manager for my music. He the first moment was very tough. The second moment was way tougher. First moment, there was some privacy that was broken. My privacy had been broken, and it wasn't intentional, but I didn't know that. I just knew the emotions I was feeling. I was feeling very in my flesh. I was feeling very in my anger, and I wanted to lash out at him, and I wanted to tell him, check him, draw that boundary in a very stern way. But I would have been only in my flesh when I did that. And so I took a step back, prayed on it. I gave him maybe an hour or two after everything had happened. And then I came to him, and instead of reacting the way I wanted to originally, I started the conversation off with telling him how grateful I am for him and how far he's brought me, and how his influence has impacted me in the places that he's taken me that I may have not have gotten without his help. And without even having to say anything about the situation, he immediately apologized. Hey, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. And that was the fruit of evolution in my faith. Instead of reacting in my flesh, I prayed on it. And when I approached him without actually bringing up the situation and telling him I'm grateful for him, immediately growth. And then weeks later, another misunderstanding, same person, another misunderstanding. And he got very emotional in his side of the misunderstanding. And this guy is very experienced fighter at the highest level. He fought in the UFC and was a world champion. And there was a lot of situations going on at the same time in our household with people that didn't live in our house. And I didn't react the way he thought that I should. I didn't react the way he thought I should. And he hit me. And I was sitting down and I stood up. I said, "Do you think you can hurt me?" you think you can hurt me? And then he hit me again. And like his look in his face was, at first it went from surprised to more angry. Then he hit me again. And I don't know if it was God, if it was just my experience with fighting, because I fought a lot as a child and a teenager. And I've fought for my life, my whole life. So in that moment I said, you can't hit me harder than life has. Until I said this to myself, but I looked him in the face and I said, I didn't lose you. You're losing me. And I walked away. And the very next day, he apologized many times, which I've never heard him do. I've heard him apologize. He will take ownership in his actions. He always does. But the way he apologized let me know that I changed his life too. I showed him that the flesh doesn't have to control. It doesn't have control if we don't allow it to. And in that moment where typically we're throwing these things, I'm going to swing back and I'm not going to let anybody bully me. But he wasn't bullying me. And because I stood up and I drew a boundary and I told him, now you have to live with that. And I can live with how I reacted. And I will be okay. I will be more than okay. I'll be great because God's got me. In that moment, the demon that had possessed him lost control. And he was given insight to what faith does for you.
Wow.
Because, like I said, I have faith that I've already been through the hardest part of my life. And now God is going to continue blessing me in a way that no man can tear me down. No man, no woman, no child, no animal. I fear only one. And I don't even fear him. But I fear him in a sense that I hope that I'm not sinning too much. So I ask for forgiveness. But that's my only fear.
And the beautiful thing is we can never not stop sinning, if that makes sense. Yes. We sin less, right? That's the goal. And that's why Jesus died on the cross for us.
1,000,000%.
So to alleviate that pressure that we always feel like, oh, I'm never going to be good enough. I'm not.
I have to say something.
Yeah.
In that moment, I learned to love the pain.
And when he was hitting you and stuff?
Yeah. Well, even after. It didn't even bruise and knot up. It really didn't even hurt. It did. Obviously it did, right? He closed fist hit me in the face, same spot. But I didn't black out. I didn't get the white flashes as I was about to be knocked out. But I loved the pain for that moment because I learned in that moment to love the pain. And Jesus taught me that. You know, the stories, we could read all the stories in the Bible and we could take something from every one of them. But if we think about it, the most important ones, to me at least, are his final dinner and the day he carried the cross. That's the most important, because just like he treated Judas at the final dinner, he knew Judas was going to betray him, but he didn't bring it up. He just loved him, said, thank you. I'm grateful for you. Mm-hmm. Just as and that's what I got when I approached my friend. I'm grateful for you. Thank you. And whenever he was going through the pain of carrying that cross, he smiled to his mother. Said, thank you. I love you. It's going to be okay. And when he was being crucified, he said, God, Father, please forgive them, for they do not know. Mm-hmm. In the midst of his pain, he loved us. Wow. And I tell you, it was another thing that I learned recently, and this is why like I moved the way I do. Because learning to love the pain and love the rain has taught me that that's what real faith does for you. You find the lesson and the blessing in every situation, no matter good or bad. You find it, and the more you start looking for it and you finding it, you realize everything was God said. Now, we may attract darkness because we are light. And darkness, we will be attacked more. We'll be attacked harder, stronger. We'll be attacked in the church. We can be attacked in the church. Very much so. We can be attacked in the middle of prayer. Just as Jesus did when he was praying the night before. He was in the garden and he was on his fast. I think it was day 43. Something of that, around that number. Sorry for not knowing, but that's, yeah, it was like day 43 of his fast. And the devil came to him and said, if you don't go through this with this, I'll give you everything you could ever want. And he let the devil, he didn't give the devil he didn't give him the opportunity to see his eyes. And he told the devil in that moment, that's where you're wrong. It's already mine. And that's, whenever that moment came with my friend, I felt free. I didn't have to live with the regret of my reaction. I got to live with bliss from my reaction. I got to move lightly as if I did before, because had I given him the reaction that I would have given him years ago, now we're nowhere different. And we are no different at all. An eye for an eye leaves us both blind. And so I chose to see. And where he was blind, I helped guide him into a new spot in his life. And
I got a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
For the kids that are watching, for the young men that are watching, they don't have a father figure in their life. They don't have like you in their life, you know, tangibly. What kind of advice would you give them as far as, like, say they're in a situation where, you know, they got to defend themselves, or they're having someone even right now who their friend, you know, they're a little bit rough with him and they always feel like they got to be physical. What would your biggest advice be, even to women too? I know there could be toxic relationships and it's got to be physical, to, you know, handle it in a way like you did, of course. But what would your advice be for that person?
So for younger adults, younger children, boys and girls, you can't expect it to react to that situation in a way that I can, because I'm an adult and I can't defend myself, but I defend myself from death. My death may mean nothing if I don't give you a reason to stop. So, and some people don't need, even if you give them a reason to stop, they're not going to stop. And that's the unfortunate side of darkness, right? So darkness can overcome, people can succumb to darkness in a way that, unfortunately, that maybe God's plan is that there's no words or actions you can do. But if there is anything I could tell you to do, is, unless you feel like your life is threatened, try to not respond in the way that your flesh is telling you to. But if you feel like your life is threatened, then defend yourself enough to create space between you and the attacker. And that space is leverage for you to get somebody who has a strong faith to aid you. Maybe that can be your parents, maybe that could be a teacher, maybe that could be a principal, or maybe it could be someone from church. Maybe it's an older disciple, right? But if you go to somebody who is led with ill intent, dark, just darkness, just demonic presence, then by encouraging somebody else to have ill intentions of response, you're no better than their actions that they're going to take. That encouragement is not what's meant to happen. You create space between you and the attacker, and you go to somebody you know is going to make sure you stay safe and make sure that justice is done, because there is law of the land and there's law of the heavens, and God told us to abide by both. And so there is justice that is served in this land, but it's not for our judgment. We can't cast judgment. We can't become judge and executioner.
Wow, yeah, so good.
We can't. Now, we defend yourself if it is life, but just know that your life is so important that your reaction can change it forever. A 30-second reaction could change your life for 30 years.
So, therefore, the person who's like, oh, but do I look weak? Are my friends gonna look at me as I'm weak because I'm walking away?
It's beautiful.
You know what I'm saying?
It's beautiful. So your friends won't ever think you're the weak. You know how strong you got to be able to get hit and still try to walk away? Now, if the person who hit you continues to hit you, defend yourself. But just enough to create space. Do not, if that means you hit them back, instead they hit the ground, don't stand over them and beat them. Don't stand over them and beat on them. Create space and move on. If you knock them out, help them up. Because walking away makes you no better than them. Because that's what they would do to you. So there's honor and there's responsibility. And we're responsible to make sure that we don't do it with ill intention. Your intent should never be to actually hurt somebody, but to defend yourself. And there's no greater defense than God's defense. So if you create that space to get away, that's moving with purpose. That's making sure that you do not make the mistake of wrecking your own life. Because there's been times myself been scared. The last time I got in a serious fight, and I mean, I've been in fights, a lot of fights, hundreds of fights growing up. I was forced to fight. But the last serious fight that I had, how ironic that I was known for fighting I fought somebody in another city, counties away, and I got called and asked if I was at the same place fighting that night, because the person that I fought that night was in a coma for 10 hours. All their front teeth knocked out. Staples in their bottom lip where the bottom teeth went through their lip. And that 30-second reaction could have cost me 30 years. And I thought I was doing right. I was sure of it, because my older brother had gotten knocked out, and I seen people around him that I knew he didn't know, and I knew I didn't know. So they were all guilty in my mind. So I knocked 3 of them out. The first two were real simple. The third one, I chased him down because I was angry. It wasn't about my brother anymore. It was about my anger. And when I hit that person, didn't want to stop. And it almost cost me my life. Almost cost them their life. And that's not something that you can ever forget, ever. So,
because in a spiritual, way, like what you just said, I think when you do act on those actions, those emotions, those feelings, that's like basically the enemy is like playground, right? It's like using you. It's giving me these thoughts as a puppet, like, oh my gosh, you're so, because we're not even meant to be like on that level.
No, we're not.
We're not even meant to be angry in general, but like to be like, I'm gonna hunt you down and you're gonna get this ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, what? Like, that's not from God. That's from the enemy trying to trick your mind and
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
Vindictive. That
Absolutely.
it's see, evil has no boundary. It can be in your church. You see, this is what I learned. Satan, a son of God, was raised in the church. He was in the most holy of churches before he was cast out down to earth. He's comfortable. That's where he's most comfortable, is in the church. So with that being in mind, there's no boundaries to his reach. And anger is the easiest, especially for men. Because men, we're told that crying And being emotional is weakness. So when we can't cry, we can't be emotional, it turns into anger. It turns into lashing out. It turns into responding in pure emotion. And that's what he wants. That's what the devil wants. Because then, in that absence of mind, that absence of faith, he can cause not only your life, but the lives of everybody you touch. It's like blood hitting water. Eventually that cup's gonna become red. And that's what he wants. He wants the blood to hit the water. But if you have a cup full of blood and you're pouring water in it consistently, eventually that water becomes water. Eventually that cup becomes completely water. It flushes out all the blood. And that's what God does for us.
Holy water.
That's what it is. That's what God does for us.
Amen.
The more you pour himself into you, the less the Satan can actually hold on to. And he may get a drop in there, but if you're consistently pouring God into you, he'll never have a place to stay. So what he does then is he uses other people to try to get that out of you. Mm-hmm. He uses other people's emotions and anger. And you have to see it as a test. You have to see it as a test. Sometimes it isn't God testing you. Sometimes it is the devil. And so, as an artist, I have to be realistic with this. I don't want to blow up overnight. Because if I do, then I would feel that it's not right. It just wasn't the way it's supposed to be. Because like I said earlier, God doesn't deny, he delays till he knows you're ready. Then he gives you whatever it is you want in your life. And for me, what I want is I want the little boy in me to make sure that there's no other little boys that had to go through what I do. And if they do, they don't have to feel the suffering as long as I did. My goal is to reach the little boy in me and every young child today. The teenagers, whether it's teenagers or young kids. That's why I don't cuss. That's why I don't objectify women. That's why I don't glorify cars, clothes, and money as the things of value. Because in reality is this: that little boy in me will be proud of the man I am today. And that's what I've always needed. That's what I've needed. I've needed me.
But you've also, and this is a beautiful opportunity for me to transition into the music, right? Because that's the whole exciting part of this whole
honesty.
Yeah, honesty. So you talked about Satan, Lucifer. We both know, for those who don't know, he was gifted many gifts, but his main gift in heaven when he was an angel was music. He made the best music. He was, I mean, you can imagine if God gave you the opportunity to be the only one who's in charge of music, you already know you're gifted.
Yeah.
And because he became a fallen angel, music runs the world.
Yes.
I mean, good music, bad music, or whatever you would consider good, you know, as far as the viewer goes, right? Yeah. And how there's frequencies in music and sounds. We were just talking about this earlier. Mm-hmm. And how that can impact somebody's mind, body, emotions, and even eventually make someone make certain decisions. That's why, for example, certain R&B music or certain, you know, songs can become more sexual, which is why romantic. Well, you know, there's people who will play this to set a mood, which will lead into this, or someone might play something that's more sad or no cry, being emotional, or whatever. I want to talk about, you know, your journey with music, because we both know that now that Satan rules music in this world, it can be a hard task for someone to be successful in this industry, because if you're not shaking your booty, if you're not talking about guns, weed, twerking, the girls throwing the money in the air like you just don't care, like I'm just trying to suck. Like, what, like, how has it been? Because you've been there, you've made music like that. And how was it going through that type of music and then having people in your corner like me rooting you on and saying, oh, if you could just make music for God. Yeah. I don't think you realize how God's going to use you. Yeah. And then you actually doing it. walk us through that, and how, and like what actually made you transition? Like, how did God move you, and what awakening, what really just pressed you in your heart to make that switch?
So
even the name switch, talk about that too.
yeah, okay, honestly. So
honesty, true love, time, one take. What can time really do to you or for you? These days, who knows the difference? When you've proven to be true and you're loyal, yet there's still some craters in the distance. You normally try, you normally fight, but this time it's totally different. You ask yourself why you're alone when you cry, but even you aren't there to listen. Listen, know I can be hard to love. I know it. Know it's even harder, times getting tough. Believing I'm not enough, so I try harder and harder, going beyond above. Now I'm lying in my blood. Don't remember making a single cut. Why would I give my all? They're just giving up, so I won't give it all. That's just not true love. What is true love? What is it? What is true love? 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 Please tell me. I need to know. True love, it gets up to do the selfless stuff. Includes for us to discuss, but prove love exists of the two of us who choose to stay. Even everything seems wrong, yeah, we choose to say. But here lately seems we've lost our way in many ways.